Hey boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about Palworld real quick, and I just want to give you guys a couple tips, okay? I like combat, right? Me and combat go hand in hand in Palworld. I love using pals for combat, and in fact, this playthrough of this game right now that I'm currently doing, this one right here, I'm not using guns. All I have is a pickaxe and a hatchet for mining stuff, and that's it. So, I'm here to tell you about what pals I think are the best for combat and how to approach combat in typical fashion and how I think PvP combat, whenever they introduce an arena, is going to start typically forming. First of all, if you are really early on, early on the game, like you're not here or anything, you're like level 2 or 3, right? You're in the legal server and the official server, and you can't do anything, right? You have to level up slowly, and things take time, and you'll spend 40, 50 hours plus just leveling things up and getting set up, right? The pals you want for combat are not the pals you want for your base. For your base, I would recommend a combination of Lamball, Cativa, and probably Lift Monk. Lift Monk does a lot of things. Yeah, Cativa and Lift Monk. Those are your bread and butter for everything involving non-combat, right? I don't think Lift Monk is great for combat. Parks is pretty solid. It starts with a good set of moves that you can get early on. I don't have any Parks anymore that I can utilize, I don't think. I'm not at my base. So, Parks starts off with a couple early good moves, and Fire's typically great for dealing with most PvE enemies. There's not always a great option, and this is not using them as a weapon, not using its skill. This is purely not using its partner skill, but purely the skills that it learns naturally, and its stats and combat stuff. Parks is pretty good early on. Really early on. We're talking real early. Moving on. The next ones you want to pick up are gonna be like Krimus. A full team of Krimus will probably do a lot of wonders for you. That is because its ability stacks on itself multiple times. So you can stack 5 Krimus and get a 50% damage bonus from Krimus, and that'll probably carry you on the mid game. It's a lot of damage, and you have multiple pals that all learn Air Cannon, which is really good. I think it's Air Cannon, and a few other things. We'll get to my pals in a minute. Daydream's also a good one. You could stack 4 Daydream, and then anything else you want for a mainline combat pal. I would recommend Fox Parks. Early on, again, this is early on. You could always stack another Daydream and send it out and have it engage units for you early on, and have it do the initiate combat, because you can cause your units to initiate combat against other pals. I think Nox is also pretty solid. It's an alternative dark choice. I don't have one, but you know, something to think about. Okay, that means there isn't another. Okay, anyway. Dire Howl's one that you want to pick up as soon as you can as a combat pal. It's pretty solid. It doesn't get the best moves. The Sand Blast or whatever is trash. Burst moves are garbage for pals. That doesn't mean they're terrible, but a burst move means your pal has to get in close to the enemy, and a lot of them will jump backwards. That means that typically the burst move will just leave it to get damaged for free. You don't want that. You want to hit as hard and fast as you can. Air Cannon, Wind Cutter, and a couple other moves. Air Cannon, Wind Cutter is my go-to for dealing with most pals. Not bosses, but we'll get to that. Excuse me. Talking a lot, not used to it. So, from there, Dire Howl can cover you for most of it. If you pick up a Nightwing, Nightwing will help as well. Both Dire Howl and Nightwing gain bonuses from Krimus because they're both normal types. Or neutral, quote-unquote. So, you can definitely get those. Robin Quill is a pretty solid option if you want to pick up a grass of some kind. Gory Rat also is a good option if you can pick it up, but that's starting to get really high-level stuff. Now, here's some pro tips, okay? One of the best combat pals you can pick up is a boss Chillet. There is a Chillet that is really early on you can pick up, and if you can get it, he spawns right over here at level 11. Really good early on level 11 Chillet that you can pick up. And it starts with some of the best combat moves in the game. Hands down. Absolutely. The triple ice attack is really amazing. But that's just Chillet. So, another pal that I definitely recommend you pick up. This is for later. Lunaris is definitely a pickup, but later. Really good combat. Really, really good combat. It learns good natural skills to slap things around. Wixen. You can pick up a level 16-ish Wixen over, let me show you the map. Over here in this area where this is, these are a level 16 fires, so you can get Arsox, Wixen, Flamebell, and Ruby. All level 16-ish roughly. You can water slide there from here. This is one of the default spawns. And just go across and get there. And it's like level 16s, level 18s, level 20s. Wixen spawns at level 18, level 16, and so on. And highly recommend Wixen. Wixen's been my bread and butter, in fact, on my team right now. So is Catris. Catris you won't be picking up anytime soon, as Catris spawns early on. Spawns here as a level 23, and it's a pain in the ass. You can pick up a Catris as well in this area. But I believe that it's going to be level 20-ish anyway. So you might as well hold off on getting it from here and just get the boss Catris. Boss Catris is best Catris. Again, combat. Pure combat. Now, alternatively, something to note. Wixen has a great handiwork. Level 3. One of the best handiworks you can get before dealing with Anubis. You will be getting Anubis later, trust me. I didn't use this one. Its partner skill's not great, and otherwise it just kind of exists. I don't use it. It's a dragon, not great, honestly, as a type. I haven't found any real use for it, to be honest. If you wanted a dual flying mount that was good at combat, Nightwing is there, Wyvern is there, and this is level 30. Where the Wyvern, I don't think I've encountered Wyvern yet, but Wyvern's also around level 30, so you might as well go get Wyvern. Actually, I think it's lower level. I think it's level 23. So get Wyvern. It's better. IMO. Azarobe. Now, there's a trick to this one. Azarobe's a level 3 watering. This is the only reason why I caught it. It's pretty solid. You can find a level 3 watering, or a level 3 watering at level 10 on this island. But be warned. If you are on foot, you will be considered trespassing. However, if you have a Nightwing, which you should because it's level 10, the area is level 10 to 15, then you can get here, and the only thing you have to worry about is staying on your mount. If you stay on your bird, Nightwing, you can use Wind Cutter and Wind Cannon. I believe Air Cannon? I should have Nightwing. Yeah, use Air Cannon and Wind Cutter, and you will be able to stun lock anything that's below, that's not a boss. Bosses don't get stun locked as far as I can tell, not from that. But it's fast, it hits hard, and it stuns them every time, and you can hit it like 4 times and then catch it. Easy as pie, right? I got 10 of these. I didn't do it for any particular reason. You should see my base. Anyway. Moving on. Bron Cherry. Bron Cherry is the only level 3 planting I know of that's pretty easy to pick up. It's level 20-ish, and it's a pretty solid grass to have around. Now, fun thing, I didn't know about this. There's a Bron Cherry Aqua that's a level 3 watering. Remember how I said this one was a pretty good one? Yeah, I don't know about you, but this one doesn't have any weaknesses as far as I can tell. It's not weak to fire, and it's not weak to electricity because it's grass and water. So if you want something for combat, Bron Cherry Aqua might be for you. It also increases your carrying capacity, and both of these are pretty solid. Now let me show you where I know of to get Bron Cherry Aqua. See, there is a cave here. Right here, at these coordinates, 141, negative 141, negative 440. There's a cave that goes back and through, and you'll find a level 30 Bron Cherry Aqua. It's a roaming boss. It sits in the cave and kind of wanders around. it's a difficult fight. Bronze Cherry is very tanky. That's why you would want Bronze Cherry, because it tanks a lot, right? Moving on. I just got this one. I don't know anything about it. I'm not going to say anything about it, so moving on from that. Yormantide, I haven't used it either. Okay. So you notice my party right now. I'm waiting to pick up the... So, I'm waiting to pick up my Lunaris, right? Which is going to replace Dire Howl. Dire Howl is one of the fastest mounts in the game, which is why I have it. But it'll replace either Chillet or Dire Howl. Lunaris is really, really, really good for combat. Fast attacks that hit hard. Then I'm going to have to go... There's a place to the north that's another sanctuary like this one that has one of the best flying mounts in the game. And I'm going to pick that one up. But that's not combat. For combat, these two, this one, some of the best for combat. Highly recommend use them to your fullest ability. And then the same thing goes for Lunaris. I think Bushi's not terrible for combat. I don't know. I haven't used it, but it probably gets a lot of the similar moves. We're about to get into that. Okay. So let me show you the moves that I actually have. For Wixen and Catris, they actually have very similar move pools. In fact, the only difference between the two is one's fire and one's dark. And you do want this. When I encountered the Bronze Cherry, Wixen had trouble because it's a fire type. And Bronze Cherry fires water type attacks. Here's the moves I use for Wixen. All of them kind of charge up, but the little bit of charge up they have, they do enough power for that to not matter. Fire Arrow is amazing. I love it. It hits on target most of the time unless it's a flying enemy. The only time this pal has an issue is flying enemies. And that's only if they're up and high whenever you engage them. And then Spirit Flame, also really good. Chasing ability, really good. Electro Ball, I just have that. It's honestly just better than what I've got otherwise. Firestorm is too slow. Any tornado attack, too slow. Enemies can dodge it. Especially in PvP, too slow, right? Spirit Fire might be an option. It explodes after a short distance, kind of like a shotgun. Really nice. And an Ignis Blast is the really short cooldown blast. Actually, I'm keeping that, but Ignis Blast is probably one of the better moves you can have. Wixen doesn't have doesn't know Ignis Blast in its move active skills right away. Like, it'll be there, but it'll have all these skills. It'll have Fire Arrow, Spirit Flame, and probably Spirit Fire already set, right? That's at level 16-ish. Catris, on the other hand, had Shadow Burst on it, and I got rid of that as soon as possible because Shadow Burst takes too long and is not effective. But then it also had Dark Ball and Fire Arrow, both really good moves. It learned Spirit Flame. That's it. That was, you know, and so I have Catris as more of a dark type. For Chillet, I mostly kept its default, except for I gave it Bubble Blast, and I've really enjoyed it because Chillet is a rideable mount. If you didn't know, it is rideable, and it applies dragon damage to your player's attacks, and it's rideable. The reason that's important is that you can activate all these abilities by itself, and Dragon Cannon, nice. It's just nice. It's amazing, right? And then Icicle Cutter is pretty solid. Actually, I want Ice Missile, to be honest. No, Icicle Cutter's been pretty good to me. It's semi-reliably iced up pals. If you wanted to do more quick damage, you could slap Ice Missile on instead, which is what it knows by default and is one of the better moves. And I can show you some of this stuff and show you why it's bad later if you guys want me to. And Bubble Blast, solid, absolute. It's been I've only had it a short time, but I haven't regretted giving it Bubble Blast. Dragon Breath is good. It's not. It doesn't do enough raw damage to be worth the stationariness of it. And I think that's what PvP is going to evolve into. When it comes to PvP, I'm like 90% certain that the PvP of Palworld is going to develop into the fastest attacks, the attacks that either chase or hit really quickly, but don't do a fuck ton of damage, is going to be what makes Pal PvP, right? The really slow tornado attack, I could see a handful of pals using those. You would typically use it if you were mounted on your flying mount, but if you have a flying pal as your main line for combat and you're not flying on it, it's not going to work out. because it takes too long and it doesn't actually utilize its ability to fly up to make it worthwhile, right? So you need pals that can take a hit and can hit hard, and so far Wixen, Catris, Lunaris have been really good. Chillet has been amazing. Early on, really amazing. Get Chillet as soon as you can. And you can get it pretty early. Level 11 is really low level for it to be there. I hope this video helps you guys with Palworld, and I hope to continue on with this because I really have been enjoying it a lot. I'll be streaming later sometime tonight after this goes live. So I'll catch you guys next time. Bye!